Hello.
Hello and good morning, everyone. We'll get started in just a moment. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here at the second day of the Chronic Boss Summit. And I see a few friends who were on our last session, so thank you for joining us. We are just so thrilled to have everyone here. The summit has been packed with amazing content and information, and we're so grateful to our speakers and to our sponsors, Lauren Perna Communications and Clear to Flourish. I'm really excited, personally very excited about this session today with Jennifer Patinaud. Jennifer is one of our members of the Chronic Boss Collective, and she is a sleep expert. I was literally just saying how my sleep has been really suffering, and so I desperately need this session. And we know it's something that's important for everyone to get good sleep, but particularly when you're living with a chronic condition, it's something that many of us need to be paying more attention to. So very excited to have all of you here. I'm also excited to share that anyone who is here with us live today is going to be entered to win a consult with Jen, which is super exciting. And also anyone who is here live is going to get a free booklet from Jennifer, which we'll send to you virtually, that is designed to help you with sleep. So I'm going to invite Jennifer to come up on stage here. Jennifer, if you want to just take yourself off of mute and video.
Oh, it's not letting me start my video.
Okay, hold on. Let's see. Sometimes it feels like we can never have a webinar without, some sort of technical difficulty. Let me see if I make you a host, if it will allow you to do that. Thanks everybody for bearing with us for just a moment. Okay, see if you can, there we go. There we go. Hi, there she is with her bright smiley face. Hi, Jennifer.
I wore hot pink for you.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I know it. I'm not really in my pink today. I was wearing my hot pink yesterday, but so good. You're bringing the color for us. I love it. Thank you so much for being here. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here.
Fabulous. I'm going to pass it over to you, but I will be here. Oh, and just one note for technical stuff. Folks, if you have questions for Jennifer, please drop them, or you want to interact and engage as part of the chat, you can put it in just the general chat. If you have an administrative question, so something that you want to ask the Chronic Boss team, like about membership or about, again, something technical on the platform, please drop that in the Q&A section. That way, Jennifer is easily able to see what's happening. So please just use the general chat, which I will drop a message in there right now, and make sure that it is going to everyone. Okay.
I see it.
Okay, I will pass it over to you, Jennifer.
Thank you. And will I be able to screen share?
Yes, you should be
right?
able to. Yeah.
Okay,
But
perfect.
don't worry, I'm not leaving. So if you can't, I'll be here if we run into any issues.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. All right. I want to know, throw a yes in the chat. Do you want to thrive in health? Yes. Let me know in the chat. Give me a yes. I see those yeses rolling in. Absolutely. Yeah. Do you want to grow your business or earning potential? Yes. Do you want to finally find something that works? Yes. Imagine going from brain fog, exhaustion, barely making it through the day, to feeling so focused and productive that you run your business or perform your job with efficiency, make better decisions, and you positively impact the people around you. Sounds great, right? Well, we are going to talk about one way to do that today. So you're in the right spot. My name, see if I can get the screen share going. There. There we go. My name is Jen Patnode from Jennifer E. Wellness, and welcome to Unlock Your Dreams. I know that some folks in this community struggle with sleep due to their chronic condition or illness or the medication that goes along with those, but there's still benefit in taking note or taking stock of what we're going to talk about today because there's an opportunity to incrementally improve your sleep. Even if it's a little bit, that's a win, right? So I think everyone can take something from today's workshop. I believe we are the captains for our health journey. I believe small changes create huge impact. And I believe quality sleep is the foundation of health. I want to acknowledge all of you for signing up for this incredible summit and for taking the time and for showing up to invest in your business or your career and your health. And a big thank you to Lily for bringing us all together. If you didn't know Lily before the summit, I'm sure you understand now her passion and dedication to chronic bosses everywhere, like all of us. So thank you, Lily. Since we're going to spend a little bit of time together, is it all right if I tell you a little bit about myself? I have to say, my life is pretty great these days. I'm my own boss as an entrepreneur with control over my schedule, who I work with, and I'm genuinely helping people. And I'm thankful for my current state of health for allowing me to live this life. My time freedom allows me to schedule my work around my kids' games and events. We're a big lacrosse family. And over the past year, it's allowed me to spend a significant amount of time with my aging father, who unfortunately experienced a number of health issues and recently passed. So I am truly grateful for that. But I think one of the best parts of being an entrepreneur and building this business is setting an example for my kids of what's possible. But it wasn't always like this. 17 years ago, I was diagnosed with Sjogren's syndrome, autoimmune disease. Had never heard of it. I didn't know what the heck was going on with me at the time. My entire head felt like it was going to shrivel up. It was so dry. It felt like somebody was rubbing sandpaper on my eyeballs. Every bite of food I took, I had to wash down with liquid or the food would get stuck at the top of my throat. Guys, I even went to the emergency room one time because both sides of my jawline swelled. It looked like I just had my wisdom teeth taken out. And when the ER doc finally came over, he had this bemused look and said I was an interesting case. Thanks, doc. So when I finally received my diagnosis, it was a big relief. But that was followed by, this is a chronic disease, can never be cured, it may progress, and here are some medications you're gonna have to take for the rest of your life. Can anyone here relate to that? I'm sure many of you can. So then, of course, the questions, right? What did I do? Why is this happening to me? I have 2 young children at home and a career. But I didn't have time for self-pity. And thankfully, my symptoms were manageable. I didn't want to make any major disruptions to my life. I decided to just take the medication and keep going. Sure, I was fatigued with 2 toddlers, a full-time job, but I didn't have the bandwidth to worry about it. So I adapted. I managed. I definitely wasn't thriving. Fast forward to January 2020, and I discovered there was something I could do about it. I started studying to become a health coach, and it was this light at the end of the tunnel, not only for my own health journey, but then the ability to help others. But when I was trying to figure out my niche and who I wanted to focus on helping, autoimmunity, gut health, brain health, what I realized, the common denominator is the importance of sleep. So you can be the cleanest eater on the planet, do 7 HIIT workouts a week. You can alternate between cold plunge and sauna all you want. If you are not getting proper sleep, you will not thrive in health. So it has become my mission to put people to sleep so that you can captain your health journey, so that you can focus on your business or your career, so that you can enjoy and spend time with the people and doing the things that matter most to you. So enough about me. Let's talk about you. Now, I know that this community, more than most, understands the importance of sleep to our health, but I typically like to give a couple examples of how lack of sleep can impact our health that I think most people can relate to at least one of these. If we were to poll the general population, I would say that a high percentage of folks would have weight loss as one of their health goals. If you're not getting proper sleep, your body will not release fat, but it's compounded. Lack of sleep also messes with our hormones that help to regulate our appetite. So ghrelin, which makes us feel hungry, that shoots up. Leptin, which gives us that full satisfied feeling, that takes a dive. So we start eating more, we get hungrier more often, and we don't feel full, and we're craving sugary, starchy foods. So our body's not releasing fat, and we're eating a ton more calories of sugary, starchy foods. Not a winning combination. Second example, this is personal to me, and I know a lot of families are impacted by dementia and Alzheimer's. Similar to the lymphatic system in the body, its primary responsibility is to flush out toxins. There's a system in the brain called the glymphatic system. Its primary job is to flush toxins out that build up during the day, one of which is beta amyloid, which is associated with Alzheimer's disease. Here's the thing. The glymphatic system only works when we're sleeping. Now I want to back up just a little bit. The last thing I want to do is create sleep anxiety. So I don't want anybody tonight lying in bed, struggling to sleep, saying, great, that lady today said I'm going to develop Alzheimer's disease. I try to toe the line between creating awareness and creating overwhelm. Stress is the worst toxin we can put into our bodies. A bad night's sleep here and there is natural. It happens to everybody, and it doesn't impact your health long term. The body can bounce back. If you struggle with sleep regularly, we need to address it, and we can. I like to tell my clients, fix, don't fixate. So let's start fixing. Share again. All right, move forward here. Here we go. So I developed a little sleep score. We're going to do a little math today. Simple math. I try to avoid math as much as possible. So I made this as easy as possible. We're going to come up with your sleep score. And I'll explain the formula for that in a second. But what I want to stress first is this is a jumping off point. This is not going to give you all your answers. This is going to start the process of positively shifting your sleep. But someone might get a perfect score and still struggle with sleep. Someone might have a lousy score and be sleeping soundly. Both important information to have. If you did get a perfect score and you still struggle, okay, we know that we need to dig deeper and look in other areas. We know that you've got these fundamentals and foundations in place. Great. Now let's figure out what's going on. On the other hand, someone who doesn't have these fundamentals and foundations in place but isn't struggling, well, you might want to think about implementing some of them. So if the you-know-what hits the fan someday, if you have good sleep hygiene and fundamentals in place, it will hopefully help to mitigate sleep struggles moving forward. Okay. So I'm hoping that you all have some paper and a pen handy, and I will tell you our secret formula here. E plus R plus S. I told you it was some simple math. E plus R plus S. All right, what do those stand for? Environment, E, routine, R, and story, S. So we are going to go through all of these, and everyone's going to have a chance to score themselves on how they do, and then we're going to add them together and figure out what your score is. I'd like to start with environment because I think it's easier in many ways. It's really making some changes once and then you should be all set. The other two are a little bit more dynamic, require a little bit more ongoing work. All right, so let's jump into environment. An optimized sleep space or environment ideally is dark, pitch black. We don't want any light sneaking in from the outside, anything from gadgets that you might have, cable boxes, any other type of gadgets in the room. The caveat to this is if you do have to get out of bed to say, go to the restroom or something, I don't want you bumping into walls and hurting yourself. So a strategically placed nightlight here and there, just try to make them red tinted. So that's less disruptive to our sleep. And if you do go to the bathroom, don't start turning on all the lights in the hallway, and that's going to wake you up and make you more alert. So dark as possible. Temperature is an important signal to our body to help regulate our sleep-wake cycles. Light is another big one. Eating schedule. We're going to talk about light in a minute. But our core body temperature dips in the evening. And it's a signal to the body that it's time to wind down, start to rest. We want our ambient room temperature similarly to be low. If it's too high and disrupts our body temperature, that is going to disrupt our sleep. So you want to keep your ambient room temperature somewhere between 64, 68. You can go lower than 64, personal preference. You really don't want to go higher than 68 degrees. Keep the room gadget free. If there are some things that you have to have in there, ideally they are powered down or in sleep mode. A quiet space, some white noise is fine. We like to run a fan year round. And then the bed. Make sure that your mattress, your pillow, your bedding is all comfortable and inviting. All right. Now we're going to see how you guys do on each of these. So I apologize. This is a busy slide. We're going to go through it one by one. But on your piece of paper, write down 1 to 7. And for each of these statements, I want you to mark a 1 if it's true for you, a 0 if it's false. So 1, your room is pitch black with the exception of a nightlight. If that is true, give yourself a 1. If false, a 0. 2, your room temperature is between 60 and 68 degrees. 1 for true, 0 for false. Your room is gadget free, or everything is shut down or in sleep mode. Your room is either quiet or you sleep with some white noise. And then these last 3, all related, but we score them separately. Your mattress, pillow, and bedding, all comfortable and inviting. So I'll give you a few more seconds to make sure you get all your numbers down. Then you want to add those up. And let me know in the chat. I want to see some scores. So obviously 7 is the highest score. Ooh, Melissa, nice. 7, 7, 5, 4. Okay. Some pretty good scores here. Looks like a lot of you already know your stuff. 5, 5, 6. I love it. I hope if someone's less than a 4, they're not just afraid to throw that into the chat. And it's okay if you are, right? This is your opportunity to learn and make those changes. Looking good so far. All right. jump back in here. So once we've got our environment set, oh, you know what is not on here, but it's also important but difficult to kind of grade true or false is air quality. So if you're questioning the quality of your air in your sleep environment or your home, then an air purifier is a great way to go. So, all right, moving on. Actually, I am going to stop share because I want to know if you have a bedtime or sleep routine. First, put routine in the chat. I'd love to see how many of you actually do have some sort of routine to get yourself ready for bed. Great. A few coming in here. Those of you who do have a routine that you like to follow each evening, typically what time do you start your routine? Routine-ish, Stacy. I ate to start at midnight. Later than I should. 9 to 10. Okay. 10, 11. All right. What would you say if I told you that your sleep routine actually starts the moment you wake up in the morning? There's a saying I love: how well we rise is how well we rest. What we do first thing in the morning absolutely impacts how we sleep that night. Here is something to try that I recommend to anyone who's struggling with sleep. And really, even if you're not struggling with sleep, it's just, I love doing it. And that is getting outside into natural light first thing in the morning within 10 minutes of waking. Take your morning drink out there. Just spend 5-10 minutes, ideally within 60 to 90 minutes of sunrise. And what that does for our body is allows for a gradual increase in cortisol. So it's signaling to our body we're decreasing melatonin, we're going to start to increase cortisol. And we want that nice gradual rise. Spikes in cortisol, those types of things we do. We don't want to demonize. Cortisol is a critical hormone and we need it, and it's wonderful. It gives us the energy, the alertness, the awakeness. If we have consistent elevated levels, then we're in that fight or flight stress mode. We don't want that. We want to be able to, it's dynamic throughout the day. But first thing in the morning, we don't want to spike it. And one of the things that spikes it is when we stick our phone in our face first thing. So try to avoid the phone for, ideally as long as you can after you wake up, but for at least, say, the first half hour getting up. Get outside and get that nice gradual rise of cortisol. Then, even better, if you can get outside around sunset, and the light at that point is a signal to your body. I told you about temperature, how our temperature dips. So light is another signal to our body that, okay, pretty soon we're going to start to wind down and we're going to get ready to rest. Bonus points if you can get outside at other points during the day as well. We could really think about the sun as like a supplement, the ultimate supplement. And it provides different benefits at different points in the day because the light changes throughout the day, the spectrum of light. So if you are able to get outside more often, your body will be very thankful. Okay, let me get back to my slides here. The other thing about our sleep routine that we want to be cognizant of. And this seems so, it seems like you would just so obvious that, okay, if you have a routine that takes an hour and you want to be in bed at 10 o'clock, fall asleep, then you got to start your routine at 9. But some people, you just don't think about that, right? We have to back into that. So the recommended amount of sleep is 7 to 9 hours. That doesn't mean if you're shooting for 7 or 7.5 hours, that doesn't mean being in your bed for 7.5 hours. That would be a sleep efficiency of 100%, which is for most of us is not going to happen. So you have to build in some extra time of actually being in bed in order to get the amount of sleep that you want. So if you're shooting for 7.5 hours, then you want to be in bed for 8.5 hours. So we want to back into that to know when we should be starting our routine in the evening. A couple other things to be mindful of. Eating, you want to have your last meal probably 2 hours or so before sleeping. Your body will still be digesting when you go to bed, but it's if you're eating right before bed, then your body's expending all of its energy on digesting the food and is not able to focus on the other things that it needs to do to restore and refresh our systems. And also to kind of lessen the amount that you're drinking closer so that you try to avoid having to get up in the middle of the night to use the restroom. Back to my slides here. All right, and there are a couple other things in the score for our routine, but let's see how everybody does generally. So for your sleep routine on your paper, 1 to 6, same as the last time. A 1 if it's true, 0 if it's false. So 1, I get outside into natural light first thing when I wake up. 1 if it's true, 0 if it's false. 2, I get outside during sunset. 3, I get outside at least one other time during the day. Or my last meal is 2 hours or longer before bedtime. 5, this is a big one. And I'm actually, after we tally up our score, I'm going to talk about this one. I fall asleep and wake up around the same time each day. 6, I stop using any electronic devices at least 30 minutes prior to bed. Falling asleep and waking up around the same time each day, or sleep consistency. Recent research has suggested that that might even be more important to our long-term health than our sleep duration or the number of hours we actually sleep during the night. Both extremely important. But sleep consistency, that routine bedtime and wake time, edges out sleep duration in terms of the impact on our long-term health. So that's a big one to keep in mind. All right, so how did everybody do on sleep routine? Yeah, I'm not surprised that the scores here are lower. And I think a lot of it does have to do with that getting outside. We are conditioned to spend our time indoors, unfortunately. I've had to make a very conscious effort myself to get outside as much as possible. So in the morning, then at some point I'll take a break and I love to go sit in the sun during the afternoon. And a great time to do it is our bodies. I mentioned how in the evening our temperature dips. At some point in the afternoon, our temperature drops just slightly, just a few degrees, But if you've ever felt that kind of afternoon slump, and it really, everybody has their own rhythm. So it will typically happen for you right around the same time every day, anytime between 12 or 1 and say 3 or 4. If you know when you typically feel that way, get outside. Try to get outside maybe 10 minutes before that usually happens for you. Spend a little bit of time out there and see if it makes a difference. That should help, as opposed to reaching for the sugary caffeinated drink. Try getting outside and see if you can get over the afternoon slump that way. All right, let me take a quick look in the chat here, see what folks are saying. Oh, consistency harder. Terrible light sensitivity and heat intolerance. So I stay inside and avoid light during the summer. That can probably be addressed, Kat, with a light panel. That could help out. So, and I know dogs and kids do make these routines difficult. I fully understand that. I am finally, for the first time, an empty nester. And so I have more control over these things. But I can certainly appreciate that pets and kids can make some of this difficult. Can being outside in the shade still work? Yes, in the shade still works. So your eyes are still receiving the signals and the lights. There are photoreceptors in our skin. And so if you are able to be in the sunlight, that's ideal. Not just for sleep, but for other health reasons. But if that is not possible, then yep, being in the shade, absolutely. Yes. And even if it's cloudy outside or rainy, still just get out there for a little bit. Still beneficial. Okay. All right. So now let's turn to final one here. Or sleep story. And what I mean by sleep story is what is going on up here in the head? What's getting in the way? So we have stories about just about every aspect of our lives, right? We have stories about not being good enough to do something for relationships, or our finances, or our confidence in work, right? We've got a story around everything. Most people don't realize that we also have stories around our health, although this community might. And one of the things that we do subconsciously is all of our self-talk creates a story, and a lot of people do this about their sleep. So if you've ever said, or if you've ever heard somebody say, I'm a terrible sleeper, it's just how it is, I always have been. Or my body will consistently wake up 3 times a night, always disrupted sleep. Or I can never sleep more than 5.5 hours. It's just the way my body is. Physiologically, our cells respond to our thoughts as though they're reality. So I'll repeat that one. Physiologically, our cells respond to our thoughts as though they're reality. So if you're hanging on to those stories and that's what you're telling yourself, guess what? That's your reality. Your body never sleeps more than 5.5 hours. Guess what? You're not going to sleep more than 5.5 hours. The good news is stories can be rewritten. And one of the ways that we can do that is in those moments when you're lying in bed right before drifting off on to sleep, you enter into what's called a hypnagogic state, right? It's kind of your in between wakefulness and sleep. You can use that time to kind of rewire your brain and your thoughts. And you can do it a couple different ways. So one of it is using positive first person statements. So I am comfortable and safe in my bed. I consistently sleep through the night without waking up. My body is great sleeper and sleeps for 8 hours every night. And you repeat those statements either out loud or in your head as you're drifting off to sleep. You can also do it with why-based questions. It's the same idea. Why am I such a great sleeper? Why am I so successful at sleeping through the night? You get the idea. So positive questions or statements as you're drifting off bed, and that can help a lot. For those of you who tend to wake up in the middle of the night and have a hard time getting back to sleep, here are a few suggestions here. If you're lying in bed for longer than 20 minutes, you actually want to get out of bed. Our brains are super associative. And so the last thing we want our brain to associate with bed is lying there, ruminating and worrying about things. We just want our brain to associate bed with sleep and sex. So if you find yourself consistently lying there, not being able to sleep, try getting out of bed, doing some sort of calming activity, reading, knitting, folding laundry, listening to an app, meditation, excuse me. No medication. Then when you do feel sleepy, try getting back into bed. Hopefully that'll help. You could try breathing exercises. I'm sure you are all aware of some. Here's one is the 4-7-8 breathing. So you inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale through your mouth for 8. And if you do that for a few minutes, it should help to calm your nervous system, your vagus nerve, and help you get back to sleep. This one might sound a little odd, but if you get up and you repeat whatever it is you do right before you go to sleep, so if that's wash your face, brush your teeth, whatever those few steps are right before you get to sleep, do those again, and it's signaling to your brain, oh, it's time to go to sleep. And then hop back into bed. If you are a consummate worrier, here's something to try during the day before you even get to sleep. So this is a cognitive behavioral therapy technique called scheduled worry time. So if you set aside the same time every day, 20 minutes, ideally not too close to bedtime, so a little bit earlier in the evening, grab a piece of paper and write out 4 columns. And in the first column, you're going to write down everything that's bothering you or stressing you out or popping up into your mind constantly. In the second column, you're going to write down, can I do something about this? Yes or no for each of those. Okay. In the third column, for anything that you said yes, the ones that you said no, time to let them go. Anything that you said yes to, in the third column, what can I do? Write down some ideas on how you can help solve or fix this problem. And in the fourth column, when can I do it? So then you at least have a plan, so if you do wake up in the middle of the night, like, hey, I got a plan. I got it all down. I already thought about all of this, all set, go back to sleep. So you give that a try. All right. So let's see how you all do in terms of your sleep story. So 1 through 7, again, a 1 if it's true for you, 0 if it's false. I seldom ruminate or worry. Number 2, I help myself relax at night by avoiding any content that amps me up. 3, I fall asleep easily, typically within 10 minutes. I rarely wake up more than once during the night. If I do wake up during the night, I'm able to fall back to sleep easily. I fall asleep and wake up around the same time each day. Oh, I think that was a leftover from the other one. Well, we can scratch that one out. Sorry. One sticks. I stop using any electronic devices at least 30 minutes prior to bed. Is that also a holdover from the last one? Okay, forget those last two. 1 to 5. All right, let me know how you did there. 0 to 5. 1.5. Amanda, that might be cheating. I don't know. 2, 4, 1, 0. Yeah. So we definitely have some areas where we can make some improvements here. Or on a good day. Okay. So now that you have a score for each of the 3 fundamentals, we want to add those up. So E plus R plus S will give you your sleep score, which will be somewhere between 0 and actually we had to adjust it. So it was 20. So I think 0 to 18 would be the top at this point. So let me know once you've added up your score. Nice. Five. And I should mention that our scores are going to change. So I calculated my score last night, and it was a 13. So you would think that, right, my score should be higher. But I got some things, even in the environment space, we have been meaning to replace our blinds for months. We've got some light that comes in during the night. We've got new blinds in the package, leaning against the wall, and just haven't done it. Right? So my space is not as dark as it should be. And just some other things that I know that I need to get back on track with. And I will. And I haven't been sleeping terribly, but I would definitely say that my score has been higher in the past. So Ebony, don't freak out. You got an 8. Like I mentioned at the beginning, this is a jumping off point. This is an opportunity to figure out things that you can adjust or change to positively shift your sleep, to positively increase that score. And here is my suggestion to you to do that. To start, just pick 1 or 2 things that we talked about. Focus on those. We know it takes, on average, 21 days to implement a new habit. Focus on those when you feel like you've comfortably implemented that or incorporated that into your life. Then you can look at the next thing that you might want to improve. My suggestion of where to start, if you're not already getting that morning light, that's my first suggestion. And the other is that sleep consistency, getting to bed and waking up at the same time. If you can consistently do those 2 within a few weeks, you absolutely will notice a positive shift. So that would be my best advice at this point. If you're already doing those things, then look at some of the other areas that we talked about. Okay. Uh-oh. Well, that's okay. The QR code is not showing up for this, but this is my gift to all of you, which I know Lily mentioned that they're going to be emailing to you anyway. So I was just hoping to have a QR code to make it just a little easier for you. But um, so this is there's some overlap with what we went over today, but this is kind of a quiz to help you identify the low-hanging fruit, the areas that you can address right away for the quickest improvement in your sleep. So hopefully you will take advantage of that. Okay. Oh, and there is the link for it right there. Thank you, Lily. Um, all right. So I would love to field any question that folks have. And if there were some earlier in the chat, if you wouldn't mind dropping them again. Because I'm sure I would miss them if I try to go back now and scroll through. Yes, Benita, I hope I've been meaning to catch up with you. I hope that that you're doing well. Uh, okay. Any questions? Okay, Tilla, how do I navigate sleep as someone who has chronic fatigue syndrome and takes a lot of naps? That, yeah, um, that is difficult. And normally for somebody who doesn't have chronic fatigue syndrome, I would encourage them not to regularly take naps, that it's okay to every now and then if you really have to. But I think in your case, it's a matter of survival. You've got to, whenever you can, seize the opportunity to get some sleep. If you haven't kind of maximized or optimized the things that we've gone over today, I would strongly suggest that that's a great place to start. In addition to, again, really getting outside as much as possible and trying to sync your circadian rhythm with nature. It really does wonders. And to try not to be bathed in blue light all day. Indoor air is, I forget the exact statistic of, 4 times, 10 times more polluted than outdoor air. Um, so if possible, Taylor, I would definitely recommend trying to do that. Do the sunrise alarms count? They wake you up with a simulated sunrise. So I recommend that. I actually have one. I haven't set it up yet. So similar to my blinds, it is sitting in my room and I just have to set it up. So yes, I think that the sunrise alarms are great because you don't want a digital clock that is shining blue light, right a foot from your face. You definitely don't want that. If you have a digital clock, make sure that it's more of a either red, amber tinted, or turn it so it's not facing you, or go with the old school kind of clock that's, not digital. Yeah, but the sunrise, yes, those are good. If you really can't sleep, is simply just resting your eyes a good option? My husband always says this, and I wondered if it's true. So there is a benefit to, I don't know what they call it. I guess it's kind of non-sleep rest. Yeah, so there is actual definitely benefit to that. If you can't sleep, but your body is able and allows you to do that, yes, I would say take advantage of that. The more we can put our nervous systems into that parasympathetic, get us out of the fight or flight, which so many of us are trapped in throughout the day, the more that we can pull ourselves out of that and relax and rest, the better. Any non-tech recommendations for a routine to do 30 minutes before bed? So hard to not watch TikToks with the hubby. Yes. So actually, Marissa, you bring up a good point or something to talk about. So there has been some research on trying to figure out exactly what is it with these electronic devices that's disrupting sleep. And so one study in particular was testing out the blue light. And so comparing reading on a Kindle or some type of device versus a regular book, and really didn't see major differences in the time it took people to fall asleep afterwards. So they surmised, okay, it's not the blue light. I'm questionable on that. But so then they said, well, is it the content? Amping up our systems? Is it, if so, they compared someone playing a really graphic video game versus, watching some sort of boring documentary or something like that. And again, they said there wasn't really much difference in the time it took to fall asleep. So what they realized was for a lot of people, if it's not the blue light and it's not the content, what is it? It's people scrolling or getting so engrossed in something, in a show, binge watching Netflix, that they blow past their natural bedtime. So it's called sleep displacement. And so there is such a thing as a second wind. So if you blow past the time that your body naturally wants to go to sleep, then your body says, okay, oh, okay, we're not sleeping right now. So it, wakes up. And then you have to wait another hour or more for your body to relax again and get ready to sleep. So ideally, if you don't think you're affected by the blue light from the device, you don't think it's the content, set an alarm or something to get yourself off of the device. Make sure you're going to sleep. All right, I will open up all my windows and blinds first thing, or is it better to physically be outside? So I think opening up your windows and blinds is great to air out the indoor air, because as I mentioned, it's more polluted than the outdoor air, but you do physically want to get outside if possible. How do you sleep when your next door neighbor's smoking is strong enough to basically be an alarm? Oh, the minute she wakes up. Oh my gosh. Okay, Benita, I remember when we talked about this. We need to have another conversation to brainstorm some more ideas, Benita, so I will get in touch with you. Do you have a favorite brand? Is that about the clock? Shoot. I can try to, if I can get your information, Amanda, I can let you know the brand that I have. And I can't recall it off the top of my head, and I can't even recall where I found it or where I got the recommendation, but I'll try to follow up with you on that. Okay, opening the windows. We do want to get outside if possible. What if we leave for work before sunrise, especially around daylight savings time? Yes. So I know that's an issue for folks, excuse me, over the winter a lot. If you're getting up in the dark, you're getting ready for work, you're going to work, and it's still dark out. So if it's possible to just when you're at work, to just step outside for a few minutes at sunrise, I mean, that would be great. Actually, to get that light at sunrise is incredible. So, if that's a possibility. If not, there are light panels that you can purchase. And so as you're getting ready for work, if you can have the light panel near you, and it will give you some of those benefits of getting the light into your eyes and helping with that gradual rise of cortisol as opposed to the spike. So that is an option. Sun lamp can help with chronic fatigue, depression. Yes. Recommended stretches or gentle exercises before sleeping. Yeah, in terms of exercise, you, for the most part, most of us don't want to do strenuous exercises too close to bed, because that is definitely getting our system going and it's not as relaxing. Yeah, stretches are great. One thing you can try is up against a wall. So lying on the floor with your legs up the wall. So your butt is, against the wall, your legs are up and you're lying down flat on the floor. Um, and doing that for about 10 minutes or so, that is a great, it's not really an exercise, but a great relaxer for your system. You can try that, but I would definitely recommend gentle stretching too as well. Would a good book do the same thing? Would a good book do the same thing? Okay, I'm not sure, Holly, um, what that's referring to. But I love a good book, and if it's has to do with waking up in the middle of the night and stewing, that's definitely something um, that you could try. Should I do morning routine before or after going outside? Um, do it after if it's, unless it's a quick few minute thing. But I would just try to wake up. If you want to grab a drink, I usually grab warm salted water first thing and I get outside or take the dog for a walk or, um, and then come inside and start your morning routine. Yes, about the clock. Okay. Okay, I'll try to the coverless check. Um, good yoga. Mm. Okay, can you talk a little more about how to use a light panel and what features to look for when purchasing? Um, I can get some recommendations for folks. Um, One of the things to look for is so the light, the strength of the light or the amount of light is measured in lumens, I think are the light panels. And so there's a certain number that you want to be above the strength. And also, ideally, you want the panel to emit very low to no EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies. But I don't have any off the top of my head that I can recommend, but certainly something that I can look into for you, Kat, if you want to provide your contact info.
Thank you so much, Jen. As we have our last few minutes here, I just wanted to pop on to say, oh my God, this chat has been so busy and people have had so many questions, and I love how engaged everyone has been. I learned a lot. I didn't do so great on some of my sleep score. So I did it good on some, not so good on others. But this was so informative. Thank you so much for generously giving your time and sharing your expertise today. We are so honored and fortunate to have you as a member of the Chronic Boss Collective. I hope everybody enjoyed today's session. And again, thank you for attending. I hope some of you will stick around to join us for our mastermind, which is our last session of the day. And as I've shared previously on some of the sessions today, the mastermind is something that we run monthly in the collective, and it is definitely one of our most popular events that we have. So we encourage you to check it out. It looks like Jen has dropped her email in here. Thank you so much, Jen, for that. And thank you for sharing your giveaway as well for this group. So thank you. And I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to share.
I would just say that absolutely, if we didn't address your question, if I didn't address your question, and Kat and I saw that Kat and sorry, with Amanda. If you want to just shoot me an email, I will definitely get back to you.
Perfect. That's so kind of you, Jen. Thank you. And thank you everybody for participating. Again, as a reminder, for those of you who haven't joined us yet today, for those of you who have already joined multiple sessions, I'm sorry that you've heard me say this so many times, but as a reminder, membership is open now through October 7th for the Chronic Boss Collective. It is your final chance to join this year, and you do get $50 off being a summit registrant. We will be raffling off a consult with Jen, and all your email is already entered in. We will be sharing that towards the end of the day today or this evening, who the winner is. And the recording will be available to all summit registrants through October 7th, at which point it is only exclusively accessed by our members. Okay, thank you again, and we will see you all in just a moment at the mastermind. Thanks, Jen.
Thank you.